What's up, YouTube family? Gerald Greenlee here with Clean & Green Lawn Service in beautiful South Georgia. Hey, hope y'all are having a great day. Saturday, 7:35 in the morning, 57 degrees. That's the good news. The bad news is it's warm, probably because it's going to rain. But anyway, I'm gonna go see if I can get the fence done, man. That's really all the paying work I got on the schedule for today. Just finish that thing up. I mean, I shouldn't be there a couple of hours. It won't take long at all to run that 10-foot section on the back. However, I got to get my first 2 pickets set and get my height right and all that. So it'll take just a little bit of time to get it set up, and I got a little bit of cleanup and stuff like that to do. So anyway, that's what we got going on. So we're gonna try to get that knocked out. And I say the only paying work, actually I've already been given the check for that. So now I got to go finish it. I don't like getting my money before I finish. Now I love to work. I was talking to a friend of mine who watches. I said, man, I love to work now. Y'all know I love to work. I said, but I do like getting a check when I get done, you know. In other words, I like to work, but I still need motivation sometimes. Nah, it ain't no big deal. He went ahead and gave me a check last night, right before I left up there. He said, well, you ought to be come and gone before I get out and about in the morning. But I didn't want to start too early. Time I get up there, get the trailer plugged in, kind of get my fence laid out where I want to put it, get my markers on there for my height and all, it'll be right at about 8 o'clock. Because I don't like, you know, he lives there, he's got a neighbor on the other side, and doggone skill saw, it makes some noise. And so I don't want to be up there at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning running a skill saw. And they probably don't want me doing it at 8 o'clock, but you know, we don't have no HOA out here. Every homeowner has his own HOA out here where we live. So, you know, anyway. All right, well, I'm gonna get off here. Hey, and I'm gonna try to show y'all today, I'm gonna show you a little bit of real time today on how I do the pickets and all. Gratz Buck, I say a friend of mine, we talk on the phone. He, you know, we were introduced through YouTube. He said in comment on the last video, he said, you know, I really would like you to show me how you put those slats on, the pickets. And, you know, instead of having it all in time lapse. And my response was, time lapse is the only way I can make it look like I work fast. Especially on fence. But anyway, I'm gonna give y'all a little overview. I'm gonna take a few minutes to do that this morning. And you know, maybe if somebody's trying to do it, I mean, it'll give you some ideas. I'll say this though, there's a lot of guys out there that have better videos about putting up fence. You know, and there's a lot of guys got worse videos. I've seen some terrible stuff. So I might be a glorified do-it-yourselfer. So some of the guys that do this stuff for a living, man, they make it look easy. They make it look easy. So, but anyway, there you go. So when we get here, I'll show you. Stay tuned. Look at that end cap on there. All right, first thing I'll show y'all is the back here. And so this is a 6 foot at its tallest point, which is way down there. This is about 5.5 foot here. So here's what I do on the rails. I have 5 foot between these. The rails encompass 5 foot from top to bottom. So, see right there? They're about anyway. Ain't exact rocket science. And what that leaves me with on my top is 4.5 inches. This should be about 4.5 inches all the way down. This rail is level. Now, I only have 5.5 foot here. I'm gonna have, like I said, 6 foot in my tallest, lowest spot. And so what that ends up with 5 foot is I have on the 6 foot picket, I don't have too much reveal over the top or on the bottom. You can see like the bottom here doesn't hardly have any reveal. Because what's going to happen is if you don't do that and you leave, I've seen guys leave, I've seen people have 12 inches up here. The top of them things are going to warp so bad, right? So that's one of the things. One of the other little tricks I use, you see these screws, high, low, 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 high, low. All right, you get the idea. Now, why not do that? Well, one is you get better support in a sense doing that. The other thing is that's eye level right there. I don't worry about as much down there, even though we did it. But when you got these screws about 5-6 inches apart, if they're up and down a little bit, you don't notice it as much. But if you have these screws, if you have a screw here, 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 if that thing ain't straight, man, it'll look like this doing the wave, right? So anyway, that's just kind of the setup for it. And now I could have done this just a little bit more. So my reveal there's about 6 inches. You definitely don't really, you really want to try to get away from getting more than about 8 or so. And you could do those a little further apart if there wasn't a 6-inch difference. In other words, you could go 5-4 or something like that. In this case, I couldn't lift the bottom one any higher, because if you notice down here on this end, the bottom one is about flush with the fence. And then it's going to have to absorb that whole 6 inches of transition. Hopefully some of this is making sense to y'all. If not, just click off the video and hit the thumbs down. Now see, right in here, I had about 8 full ones. And on those, I probably got, I think it was right here. Or actually, maybe it's right. These aren't cut right here. And those right there, I got probably about 8 to 9 inches, which is a little more than I like. But again, you couldn't go any lower because of your high point down there. Now, the other thing is, you can run those rails, and every 8 foot you follow the contour of the ground. So you just pull your string line every 8 foot section, and you just let the top of the fence roll with the ground however it goes. But this is not a slow roll here. So anyway, all right, so I'm gonna get out here and get set up, and then I'll just kind of show you how I do my pickets. All right, I'll show y'all this other little thing I made just in case. Again, I want my reveal up top to be 4.5 inches. Now that's going to vary from fence to fence. I had to figure out what that's, you know, how I'm going to do it. At least the way I do it, it does. So what I got here is a 4x4 with a 1-inch strip on it, because that's actual 3.5, and one is 4.5. Now, all I have to do now is set that just like that right there, and I know where the top of my picket needs to go. Now what I normally do is I put a piece of wood on both ends, and I pull a string line down it at 4.5 inches, right? But for example, on this run, because it was 140 feet, I can never get a line tight enough to not get a sag to it. So what I do is I move this down. Say if I'm working here, I move that down about 3 posts and let it sit on there like that, so that the line's sitting on it, and that takes the sag out, right? And then I work my way down to it. I put it where a post is at though, like that right there, so it doesn't rock so much. The other thing I do when I run these rails, like this is a 10-foot section, right? Well, I never go the full 10 foot. Of course, we normally do 8-foot sections. That's why there's a post in the middle. I don't go over 8 foot without a post. What I do is I set every post about 7 foot, 9 inches, 10 inches, somewhere in there. That's where I dig my holes at. And the reason I do that is, like right here, if I had another section, I'd take my square, mark the middle of this, set my solder where it doesn't go into this, it just cuts the 2x4 and cut it off, right? And that way I just butt the next one into it. Because if you try to get them exactly 8 foot digging those holes, you can get off somewhere. And I've done that before, and what happened is I had to go get a 10-footer and cut it 97 and a half inches. So, you know, cut 22 and a half, 23 inches off of it and just waste it. So I found out that, yeah, over, you know, every run you lose a couple of inches, but at the end of the day, it's fast. So you tack it up, you come down, cut the middle, slap 3 more boards in, tack it up, cut the middle. You just do that, and then of course on your ends, like that bottom one, I'm gonna just cut it off. I'm gonna mark it and cut it off flush. So anyway, I'm gonna get everything set up, and then I'll show a picket going on. All right, so now I got my string up at 4.5 inches. Went ahead and just pull one down it. And then what I'm gonna do to see where my pickets need to go, and I don't have my tripod with me, so this is gonna be a little shaky. Y'all bear with me. All right, so I'm setting that on the ground, and then I'm gonna measure up. So I got 67 7/8. Now this ain't rocket science, okay? So what I want to do is I'm gonna go 66 7/8, which is gonna give me a gap on the bottom, 66 7/8. And then what I'll do, again, sorry about the camera, is I'll come down and I'll measure. See, that's 67 3/4, so that 66 7/8 will still work down here. So 66 7/8. So, and you can kind of look at that bottom rail, because again it runs level, and you can tell that most of these pickets for this whole first section is probably going to be the same. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut me. I usually cut about 3 at a time, so let's get those cut and stick one up. All right, so on this first one, I just stick it up. Obviously I can butt it to that. That's flush with the end of the 2x. I'm on my line, but not pushing it up. Gotta be careful of that. So I pin one screw here and one here. And of course I know this post is level, so that's pretty well gonna be level. All right. Now, these things always have a natural kind of bow and warp to them. You put 3 of them up and it's gonna start to get out of level. One of the things I do too is I set that up against it. Like right here, I'll put my screw down kind of low over here, because I know I'm gonna push it up that amount, right? I'm gonna push it up. Now you see how that's that gap? Look at the top. Look at the gap in the top. They just have a natural bow to them. And again, that's just the type of wood you're dealing with. Sometimes if it's bad, I wouldn't worry about that too much, but if it's bad, I'll pull it out a little and angle a screw to kind of pull it over. But it's a never-ending fight with these. I mean, it's just the caliber of wood that you're dealing with. I'm sure a cedar or something like that, a cypress, would probably be I mean, I got some boards that are so bad they're laying on the trailer now. I just wouldn't even use them. So anyway, that's what we got. So, and what I'll do is I'll pin up, like I'm cutting 3 at a time, I'll pin these 3 up, make sure that last one's still plumb. I'm saying level, it's actually plumb up and down. Somebody's probably already corrected me, but, and then I'll come back and pop the rest of the screws in. So, and sometimes I may do like 6 at a time. It just depends. But I only cut 3 this time because I was showing y'all. Normally what I'll do if I got a lot of them the same size, I put a stack of them, and my saw will cut through 3 and it'll leave a line in the 4th one. And so then I get another stack and I just follow that line that it left. And like I said, right here I could probably run out. That's a 5-foot section, so that's going to be about 10 pickets will get me almost over to that 4x4. So anyway, all right, let me get with it. Y'all know what that means. All right, man. 150 feet worth, give or take a foot. I didn't actually measure it. I know this one here's like, well, I can measure it. It's a 10-foot section, but it's not quite 10 foot. It's just, man, what in the world? I'm struggling. I am struggling, man. What in the world's the deal? Look at there, 118 and almost 3/4. Man, he gonna want an 1.25 inches of money back. Anyway, I don't think he'll be worried about that. This didn't turn out to be a bad project for us. I don't necessarily like that contour along the ground, but once your grass grows up, you won't see it. But this time of year, you will. At least it's more level out here. Everybody rides by and sees it. Now, most people don't care about that. And a lot of people probably won't even ever notice it, but it's just me. They'll be like, he did that? On unlevel ground, really the only option to get away from that is to put them all the way in the ground, you know, but if you start doing that, they're gonna rot a lot faster. So anyway, I got to get these trailers hooked up and get them back to the shop. I got to get everything unloaded, reorganized, because this trailer that's got all the trash on it has mulch on it, and Monday morning we rolling out with it, so I better get busy. All right, YouTube posse, it has been a cool, kind of damp afternoon. Just been chilling out. Had to go to town, get some hay for the goats, and just been, got me some hot dogs, grilled them. Just been lazing around, man. Anyway, it's gonna be Sunday when y'all get this video. I just decided I'd just wait and put it up then. But anyway, appreciate you taking the time to watch, and hope you enjoyed the video. And my prayer for you is always the same, that the Lord might richly bless you, and that you might see all of your blessings as from Him. Hope you have a great day.